Good morning, students. I hope you all are doing good at home. From today, we are beginning the new session of e learning. Today, we will begin with history, chapter number 1, that is when, where, and how. Let us start now. See, what is the first topic? The first topic is what is history? Now, before going to in depth meaning, okay, let us understand the term history in a very simple way. See, students, what do you mean by the term history? Okay, the term history has been derived from the Greek word historica. Okay, the term history has been derived from the Greek word historica, which means inquiring or to gain the knowledge or the knowledge acquired by investigation. Okay, so the term history has been derived from the word historica, which has a Greek origin. Okay, and the meaning of the word historica is to inquire about something or inquiring about something. Okay, now history is also known as series of events, or you can also say it is the series of facts that is connected with somebody or something. And a very important thing, the scholars who write about the history are known as historians. Okay, now let us see the point. History is the study of events that happened in the past in the sequence of occurrence. Now see, what is history? History is the study of events. Okay, study of events or study of any incident or any situation, okay, that happened in the past, means any event that has already occurred years back, okay, that has already occurred in the past. Okay, that is history. So what is history? History is the study of the events or the situations or any incident that has already occurred or happened in the past in the sequence of occurrence. In the sequence of occurrence means what? Sequence of occurrence means a sequence of events or a sequence of things is a number of events or a number of things that come one after the another in a particular order. Okay, so we can say that history is the study of events, or history is the study of any incident that already happened, that has already happened in the past in the sequence of occurrence. It means that it has already happened earlier. Okay, now, history also tells us about how early humans lived and how they progressed over thousands of years. Now, moving to the next topic. Why do we study history? Students, why it is necessary or why it is important to study history? See, one basic thing, it is very important to study history, or it is very important to gain the knowledge about history so that we can learn about our past. Okay, so that we can learn whatever the events or whatever the incidents or whatever the situation, we can gain the knowledge about all those events or incident which has already occurred in the past. That is why it is very much necessary to study about the history. Now let us see all the following points in. Coming to the first point, the first point is, it tells us how humans discovered and invented various things. Means history tells us how humans discovered and invented various things. Students, what do you mean by discovered? See, discovered means to find something or finding something, and इन्वेंटेड मीन्स टू इन्वेंट समथिंग और टू डिवाइस समथिंग, जैसे हम हिंदी में बोलते हैं किसी चीज़ का आविष्कार करना. ओके, सो व्हाट एक्चुअली, फॉर व्हाट वी नीड टू स्टडी हिस्ट्री? We need to study history because it tells us how humans discovered and invented various things. For example, how humans evolved from living in caves to reaching the moon? It is very important to know, and this can be known when we study history or when we go to our past and we study about the past. Now, coming to the second point, that is, it tells us how cultural and social development took place. See, history also tells us how the cultural and social development took place. What do you mean by cultural? See, culture means our customs or our ideas or our beliefs, etc., of a particular society. Okay, so it tells us about the cultural beliefs of the people who lived in the past. Plus, social development. What do you mean by social development? See, social development means social means the people, the society. So social development means the development of the society, how people used to live in the society, how the people in the past used to form relations with the other people in the society. This we get to know from the past. Now, coming to the third point, that is, it tells us how people explode. Okay, now what do you mean by explode? Explode means to travel around places. What do you mean by explode? Explode means to travel around places. Okay, see, third point, it tells us how people explored the world by traveling over thousands of kilometers on land and on water without any maps or navigational tools. See, in the ancient time, the people were not having the ancient humans were not having any maps or any navigational tools like compass, which helped them to show the direction or which helped them to find the direction. So they just explored, means they just kept on traveling, and they traveled around different places to understand the world, that too without any maps or navigational tools. And they used to travel by what? They used to travel by the means of land and water. Okay, they use the mean, that is land or waterway. Now, see the fourth point, that is, it helps us learn from the mistakes of the past and allows us to take better decision. It means that history helps us to learn from the mistakes, means whatever the mistakes or whatever the wrong incidents which already happened in the past, the people now can refer those mistakes or can learn from those mistakes so that they do not repeat that mistake now. Okay, so the past events or the historical events help the people to learn whatever the mistakes were there, and it helps the people to rectify those mistakes and take the better decision for the future. Okay, now coming to the third topic, that is time frame under study. See, scientists believe that humans came into existence about 2 lakh years ago based on the remains and the signs that have found. See, it has been believed by the scientists or the scholars who study history, okay, and who write about the past events. According to them, or the scientists, they believe that humans came into existence about 2 lakh years ago based on the how many years ago? 2 lakh years ago, based on the remains and signs. Remains and signs means whatever the findings were, this means whatever they got from the whatever the materials or whatever the evidence which they got from the past. By seeing those evidence or by seeing those materials, they got to know that the humans came into existence about 2 lakh years ago. See, it was believed by the historians or it was believed by the scientists that the earthly humans or the ancient people looked like somewhat like this. See, you can see in this picture. Okay, and the scientist studied the remains and the signs. Remains and the signs means whatever they find whatever they found, the evidence. Okay, evidence like the metals, or you can say the ornaments, evidence like the dead bodies, okay, skeleton, or evidence like the. Now, coming to the next point, that is, the study of history is divided into three periods. Okay, students, the study of history is divided into how many periods? The study of history is divided into three periods. What are those three periods? The first is ancient history, the second is medieval history, and the third is modern history. Now, what do you mean by ancient history? What do you mean by the word ancient? See, ancient means which is very old and no longer new. So, the one phase of history is ancient history. Now, the second phase of history is medieval history. Medieval history means the age of discovery. This was the middle age of discovery, where the humans of the past, where the people of the past, they started evolving and they started discovering and finding new things. Okay. Now, coming to the third, that is modern history. Modern history, this was the period, or this was the time period where actually many development was done. Means there was technological development, there were many innovations, urbanization took place, there were many scientific developments, technological development, etc. was happened in the modern period. See, modern period generally means, or the modern history generally tells us about the history up to the present day. Okay, so these were the three study of history, or the three periods, sorry, this were the three periods of study of history, that is the ancient history, the medieval history, and the modern history. Okay, now coming to the next point, study of time. See, study of time, BC and AD, these are the terms used to measure time. See, in the ancient history, okay, in the ancient history, the birth of Jesus Christ is taken as the reference point from where the historians count the dates. Okay, all the dates before the birth of the Christ are counted backwards. Okay, all the dates before the birth of the Christ are counted backward. See, in this, all the dates before the birth of Christ are counted backward, and all the dates after the birth of Jesus Christ are counted forward. Okay, now see, what do you mean by BC and AD? Now, BC, BC means before Christ, BC means before Christ, and AD, what do you mean by AD? AD means Anno Domini, that means after the birth of the Christ. Now, earlier, the historians or the scholars used this term BC and AD. BC means before Christ and AD means Anno Domini. But slowly nowadays the historian preferably use this term, that is BCE and CE instead of BC and AD. Now, BCE and CE, what do you mean by BCE? BCE means, see here, before the common era. And what do you mean by CE? CE means common era. Okay, now we will understand how they used to measure the time in the ancient time. See, in the ancient period, the birth of Jesus Christ was taken as the reference point to count the dates, and all the dates before the birth of the Christ are counted backward. It means these dates were counted backward, and they were denoted as what? They were denoted as BC, that is before Christ. Now, all the dates after the birth of the Christ, after the birth of the Christ are counted forward, which is denoted as Anno Domini, okay, which means AD. But now in the current era, the BC is known as before the common era, and instead of Anno Domini, the scholars used the word common era. Now, the next topic is geographical framework. See, let us start. People prefer to live in areas where environment is favorable for living. Means in those time means the in early time people generally lived in those area which was favorable for them, means place where they can get all the resources. Okay. Now see, various factors such as type of land, soil, availability of water, climate affects human settlements. Various factors such as type of land, various factors such as type of land, soil, water, climate affect the human settlement, means wherever or whichever place they find all these resources, the people used to settle there. Now, what do you mean by human settlement? See, human settlement means it is a place where the group of people have built and lived in. Okay, so they lived in the group wherever they find all these resources, because a good type of land will help them to build their house. Okay, and the soil will help the people of ancient time to cultivate the crops. And availability of water means with the help of the water they will utilize the water for their agriculture purpose or for their daily consuming purpose. And plus good climate, these all factors were there, which and according to which the people lived. Now, coming to the second point, that is, in india first settled in India, humans first settled on the bank of the three rivers, that is the Indus River, the Ganga River, and the Brahmaputra River. See, the Indus River is the largest river of Asia. The Ganga, the Ganga River is the river which flows through India and Bangladesh. The next is Brahmaputra. The Brahmaputra is the river which flows through China, India, and Bangladesh. So it is believed that the first settlement of humans was near the bank of all these three rivers. Now, the third point is kingdoms of Magad emerged in the Indo-Gangetic plain. The next point is they settled in these areas due to the advantage, that is what the early people settled in all these area, means the early people settled in all this place, like the humans settled on the bank of these rivers. Kingdoms like Magad also emerged in the Indo-Gangetic plain, and early people prefer to live in the area where they can find sufficient water, or where there is good climate, or where there is good type of land or soil. Okay, so generally the people or the early humans, they settled in these areas due to the following advantage. And what were the advantage? See, the first was fertile land. Fertile land means wherever the early human or wherever the people get fertile land, they used to settle there, so that these fertile land will help them to build their house or build their huts, or to do the other activities such as digging or cultivating. Now, nearby source of water. Nearby source of water means nearby source of water. Water was the main means of transport during that time. Okay, they used to, means the river served as a means of transport, as it is given, means with the help of the river they used to move from one place to another, and they used to transport the material from one place to another. Plus, the main source of water means water helped them for daily consuming, plus the water helped them for irrigation purpose and for the agriculture activity and for the good climate. This was also the reason why the people settled in all these area. Okay, So why the people of the early times settled near all these places? Because of the fertile land, nearby source of water, good climate, and rivers which served as a means of transport. Okay, now coming to the next point, that is, Himalayas also allowed the movements of people, especially the traders. Means Himalaya, the Himalayan mountains also helped the people to move, especially the traders and the traveler. Means the traders, who are the traders, who are actually the traders are the person who buys and sells the things in the market. So the Himalayan mountain, through the Himalayan mountains, the trader used to move to the other places or the other side of the mountain, or the travelers used to move to the other places, and in this way the development of trade started. Okay, now, coming to the next topic, that is reasons for the movement of people. Now, you see why the people started to move from place to place. If in general sense, we will try to understand, the people started to move from place to place in search of food, in search of work, etc. Okay, now we will see this in point. The first point is people moved in search of food. Simple. In the early time, the people used to move for the search of food because it was not possible to get the food, because in early time, or we can call it the ancient time, the people do not know how to cook food. Okay, so they used to move to different places to get the food. Now, coming to the second point, the second point is people moved in case of natural disasters like floods and famines. One of the reasons for the movement of the people was people moved in case of natural disaster. When any natural disaster happens, like flood or famines. What do you mean by flood? Flood means, see, badana, okay, excess of water. Now, what do you mean by famines? Famines means सूखा पड़ना, or you can say lack of food for the long period of time in an area that can generally cause death of many people. So when any flood or famines kind of thing happens, then the people tend to move from one place to other. Now, coming to the third point, that is traders. Traders move to sell their good. As I told you earlier, traders means a person who buys and sell things in the market. They used to move from one place to another in order to sell their goods. Coming to the next point, that is kings sent their armies to conquer land. Now, the kings also sent their armies to conquer the land. Means here the kings used to send the armies, and the army used to defeat the other kingdoms and take the control of that place. In that way, they used to move from one land to other land by conquering the land of other kings. Now, coming to the next point, that is people traveled to discover new land. See, as I told you earlier, discover means to find something. Okay, so people also moved to find new land where they can work, or where they can do the agriculture, or where they can cultivate the crops, etc. Now, the last point is religious leaders moved to spread their teachings. Now, the religious leaders are the leaders who generally spread the religious teachings to the people. Okay, so in this way, the people moved from one place to another for different reasons, and all this helped them in the exchange of ideas and mixing of people and cultures. That was it for today. Thank you, students. We will continue with the leftover topics in our next video.